Hey, you looking to improve your stone game? Maybe pick up some building tips? Well, you picked the right video because that's what we're doing today. What's up everybody, my name is Rob and welcome to GameStar. In this video, I'm going to show you how to build using stone and how to make it look good. Now I'm going to break it down in 3 parts for you. The basics, structure building, and detailing, so you can jump to whatever's important to you. But if you have the time, I would recommend you watch the whole thing, because you don't know what you don't know, and you just might learn something new. Now, I'll be using mods for this video just to give you the best camera angle and to speed things along for me, but you can make this entire build in survival with just ladders or a platform. All right, with that, I'm ready if you are. Let's get into it. To begin building with stone, you first need a stone cutting table, which requires 2 iron ingots. So you'll need to have at least made it to the swamps if you're playing in survival in order to build one at all. Once you have the stone cutter and plenty of stone, you're ready to begin. Now, the way you stack stone is vital to its durability. Whenever possible, you want to cross-stack the stones so that they overlap each other. This will not only look better, but help the build support itself should it take significant damage. In order to properly cross-stack stone, you'll need to use both the 2-meter stone blocks as well as the 1-meter blocks to butt your ends properly. It's super simple to do, just like this. Now that we have 2 walls that are nearly identical here, the one on the right is stacked vertically, stone on stone, all using 2-meter blocks, while the one on the left is stacked properly with the blocks overlapping each other, using 1-meter blocks on the end pieces. Imagining this is your castle walls, should a base block or even the foundation break, well, not good. You're going to have the entire raiding party pour into your base. But if you were to damage the same base block on the wall on the left, barely any damage occurs. Same with the foundation block. Big difference, huh? Congratulations, you've completed the basics. Now let's get to the good stuff. Whenever you build with stone, I highly recommend you first lay a foundation of 2x2 stone floors to build on. This will do the best job of supporting your structure and allow you to envision it as well. You can always cover them with wood planks or rugs once you're finished building if you're going for a different look than the stone floor gives. For this build, I'm going with a 5x7 rectangular build. That's 5 stone floors wide by 7 stone floors long. It'll be a total of 10 by 14 meters. If you're new to stone building, I would advise you build this exact structure just to see how it all comes together. Otherwise, feel free to make any size or shape that you want. I would suggest that you decide where the front door is and how large you want to make it before you begin building. The windows and the other doors can be modified into the build later. For this build, we're going to go with double doors, so we need to have at least 4-meter gap right in the center. Unfortunately, our blocks don't want to snap in place correctly because the only snap points currently are aligned with the floor tiles. In a case like this, just start on the sides first, and this will push your front wall in by 1 meter on each side, like this. And now we have the perfect size gap to slap in our doors. I'm going to use these as placeholders. We can change them out later if we decide with a different look. Now we're going to grab our 2-meter stone blocks and run the first layer of wall all the way around. Okay, and then we start the second layer by overlapping the previous layer. So we just bump the blocks in by 1 meter. And all the way around. Now, whenever you finish a layer with a gap, just fill it in with a 1-meter block to bring the wall ends flush with the doors. Then switch back to 2 meters and start the next layer. Repeat these steps until you have all the walls at the correct height. It usually looks best to bring the new walls up at least 1 meter over the main door. So in this case, we're going to go with 4 layers of wall, 4 layers tall, because the doors are going to be 3 meters tall. And it usually looks best to bring the walls up at least 1 meter over the door. Now, once you get the 4th layer back to the doors, you have a decision to make. You can run the stone straight over the top of the doors for a more primitive or industrial look, or instead, we can put down a 1-meter block to match the previous layers, then grab the stone arch and butt it up to each side with the wide side against the walls, just like this. Just slap one on the left side, rotate the next arch, and slap it to the right side. Doing this will create a harmless gap. Nothing will be able to get through it, but if the look of it bothers you, as it does me, We can quickly fix it by popping in some 1 meter cage walls. You can put them on the outside where the doors are, but they will look better on the inside. Don't worry about any clipping, we'll cover it in the detailing portion of the build. Also, don't worry about the bars not aligning with the doors. These are only here temporarily. The doors will be pushed back in the final build. In fact, we can just do that now. If you're going for the exact look, you can start with the doors in this position. I just want this all to be easy to see and understand. Okay, now that we have the walls and main doors in place, let's go ahead and decide our window placement. This is super easy since we get all of our materials back when we deconstruct. Just decide where you want the outside wall of the windows to be and punch out the bricks accordingly. It usually looks best to bring the windows in at least 2 meters from the end to give yourself at least 1 meter internally before the window begins. Once you've punched out the spot for your first window, repeat the same step all the way around. Just pop out the stones that will mark the proper width of the window. 2 meter wide windows tend to work best normally, especially if you're going to use shutters and want them to align correctly. So we're going to go all the way around and mark our window spots. Now that we have the windows marked, go ahead and destroy the blocks around it so that you have a 3 meter tall port or hole. Leave at least the bottom layer intact. In this build, we're going to break layers 2 through 4, with layer 1 being the one against the floor. Then complete the window edge by slapping in 1 meter blocks, again like this. After we got the windows taken care of, we're going to make the gap for the back door. In this build, we're going with a single door in the back, so we'll treat it just like the windows, only we'll take the gap all the way to the floor. Then slap in our 1 meter blocks on the side. Good. Now, we could top the back door like the front with arches, but we're going to make the back door more basic, intentionally. So we're just going to finish with a 2 meter block across the top. Most back doors aren't nearly as fancy as the front, so this works fine. We're going to go ahead and pop in the wood gate, which is also 3 meters tall. There we go. Okay, time to go ahead and finish the windows now. We're actually going to do the same to the windows as we did with the front door and grab the stone arch piece and pop it on the side of the window. Doesn't matter which one, but it's easiest to just do all the windows at the same time. Then once you have those arches in place, rotate it 180 degrees and slap it in the other side. There we go, look at that. Now we can really see it coming together. Just wait though, the detailing step will take it so much further. Whenever you have access to a door, wooden or stone, put down stairs leading to it to make things smooth for yourself and anyone else who might be using the door, and prevent gaps that you may need to jump over, which can be especially bad if you're over encumbered at the time. Now let's take a look at the progress so far. It already looks pretty decent, and we haven't even put a roof on it yet, or details. Alright, the next step will be creating the roof, but we're going to jump ahead a little to do a bit of detailing first, just because it'll be easier to do it now than after the roof is on. So we're going to grab the 2 meter wood beam, and starting in the corner on the inside, we're just going to run the beams all the way around the inside of the building. Okay, great. Now we're going to do the same thing on the outside. So when we're done with this step, it should look just like this. Okay, great. Now we can begin with the roof. Now the style of roof I prefer will actually give you a 1 meter wall overhang all the way around the building, which is nice because it'll protect any detailing you do directly under the roof from weathering. So what we're going to do first is grab the 1 meter wooden beam, and while looking at the front of the building, we're going to attach it to the corner facing directly out, sticking right at the side of the building. Repeat it on the other side and on the back side. Now we're going to rotate it, the same 1 meter block, 90 degrees, and connect it to the beams sticking out so that they face to the front in the front of the building and back in the back of the building. Then we're going to rotate the same piece 90 degrees again and attach it all the way down the sides every 2 meters, or length of the 2 meter beam. This doesn't take long at all, but it looks really good. Once you have them all in place, you're then going to grab the 2 meter wooden beam and run it all the way down the side. And we're going to do that on both sides. Once you're done with this step, it should look just like this. Now it's time to pick your roof tiles. If you're going for an industrial look, like a blacksmith or smeltery, the thatch roof looks best, in my opinion. For housing or social spaces like taverns, the shingles look great. It's really up to you and the look you're going for. To start, I'm envisioning a blacksmith, so I'm going to start with a thatch roof, but we'll take a look at both. You can choose any angle you'd like depending again on the look you're going for. For a barn or storage unit, you can start with a steep incline using 45-degree pieces, then switch near the top to the 26-degree roof tiles. But we're actually going to go for something a little different. We're going to start with 26-degree and move to the 45, so it'll kind of slope up in the center. So first, one layer all the way around with a 26-degree thatch roof, starting from the end of your wooden ledge all the way to the back. Now we'll switch to the steep version, 45 degrees, and run them all the way up until both sides connect. All right, nice. Now to fill in all this empty space and complete the build, we're going to grab the slanted wall pieces. Just simply match the roof piece you're trying to connect to. So to start, we're going to grab the 26-degree wood wall and slide it all the way against the roof tile. It might take a little maneuvering, but without much issue, it should snap right in. Just make sure it's connected to the roof tile and not just sitting inside of it. Okay, and same thing on the other side. Now I'm going to grab the wood wall 45-degree and connect that right to the top of the last angled wall, like that. And now bring it all the way to the top of the roof. Then again, do the same thing on the other side. If you do it correctly, you should end up with this wooden line running right up the side of the roof. I just want to reiterate that although I'm using a mod for this, you can just use a ladder to build this or a makeshift platform, which just takes 1 meter wood pole followed by a 2 meter floor tile and repeat for a taller platform. And those are a few ways you can comfortably build up high without mods. Now to finish with the roof, just grab the appropriate wall pieces to fill in the rest. You can easily fill in the rest with standard 1 meter half walls or 2 meter walls. I'm gonna add a little extra detail in here, but first, let's catch up the other side to what we've done in the front. We're gonna do the exact same thing in the back. Okay, we're actually done with the main build. The rest will be the detail work. Let's get a look at it real quick just to make sure it's ready to move on to the third and final step of the build. Yep, looks good. Okay, to start the detailing, we're gonna fill in the front of this using the 45-degree wall piece. Just lay one on the sides, sloping up towards the roof. Rotate it and do the same thing on the other side. Now grab the inverted version of the 45-degree wall and do the same. If you do it right, you should end up with a small diamond shape, just like this. Same thing on the back side. Sweet. Jumping ahead a little bit, there's a couple ways you could choose to detail the diamond. For a fancier look, you could use the dark wood divider and pop it in all 4 corners of it. There we go, that looks nice. But honestly, you don't need anything here. Nothing's gonna fly through that hole. The roof is close to complete, but we need to trim the outside and top. So grab the diagonal wood beams that match the pitch of your roof and just snap them all the way up the roof. If you want to add the traditional Valheim X to the top of the roof, it's easy, just slap them in before finishing the trim. I think it looks best to have 2 X's on each side. If you like the look as well, it's easiest to attach the inner X first. Just move it around until it falls in place. Then attach the front facing X and finish it up by overlapping the remaining roof with the angled beams. Then, as always, repeat the process in the back. Now see, I think that looks good with the double X. If you don't care for it, just remove the inner X or avoid putting them in the first place. I really like the look of the twin beams running up the roof. You can actually run them all the way down the side of the roof if you'd like. Personally, I think less is more, so we'll just stick with this design. All right, on to the windows. Step 1, using 2 meter wood beam yet again, we're gonna create a window sill. You can just let it snap right in the bottom of the window on its own, but personally, I like it to stick out just a little more than normal. Just gives it a little more depth. So what I'm gonna do is hold the alternative placement button, which is shift on the keyboard. You may need to look it up in your control settings if you play on controller. And as soon as I press and hold the alt placement button, you'll see it pop out a bit. I can now place it anywhere I want. So I'm gonna move it flush with the bottom of the window and then nudge it up just slightly. It doesn't need to be the exact same on every window. The human eye won't catch the subtle differences, but this will help when we lay the window ledge. So just add a 2-meter beam at the bottom of every window, either with manual placement or just snapping it in. It's simply personal preference, as with all detailing really. Now that we have the window sills in place, we're going to grab the 1x1 wood floor tile and slap them in the bottom of the windows side by side, all the way around in each window. It doesn't matter which direction you face them, just make sure they're all the same. It would probably look better going long ways, but I've already started, so I'll just continue this way. There we go, just like that. Next, we're going to grab the wooden shutters and slap those on the sides of the window, facing in to ensure they properly line up. To avoid latching onto the wrong snap point, just start the shutters at the top of the window, the top side. Then the bottom should snap easily in the correct position. Okay, so we can see our progress better. I'm just going to open up the shutters real quick. There we go. And now we're going to head inside. We're going to grab the 2-meter wood pole and just slap it in on the sides of each window. This will actually be temporary, and you can skip this exact step once I show you the final step for these. For now, though, we're just going to use them as placeholders. Now back to the 2-meter wood beam and snap them in the bottom of the windows. Perfect. And now we're going to switch to the wood half wall with the horizontal board facing outside. We're going to bring it up to the top of the window and just pop it right in, right where the arch is. Bang. 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 Okay, so now we can destroy these placeholder beams. If you like the look, you can keep it, but just check this out. We're just going to break off these 2-meter poles off the side of the windows. Then we're going to grab the 2-meter poles again. We're going to rotate them twice to give them kind of that diamond shape. And then butt them all the way to the top and right to the bottom. Both sides of the windows. Every window all the way around. It's actually kind of dark in here. Let me do something about that real quick. Okay, now to maximize the look, we're going to attach the wood half walls to the bottom of the window as well. Then back to the 2-meter poles and line the doorway all the way up. Both front doors and back. Maybe a crossbeam over the top of the back door. Now, if you like more details, you can do the same thing you did with the windows on the walls. Just pop in diamond-shaped holes from top to bottom, and then slap 2-meter wood walls in between them like that. Actually, if you want, you can go with just the diamond beams and remove the wood wall, and it still looks better than just a flat stone wall like this. All right, let's go back outside and get to work detailing the exterior of the house. So starting with the diamond-shaped window, if you wanted to kick it up a notch, you could just extend the angles downwards with a 45-degree wood beam to where the roof begins. You could then take the design even further by attaching another beam just below this one. Strictly optional. Regardless of what you decide to do with the beams, you want to outline the brick in wood beams and poles, all the way around. Anywhere the stone ends, cap it with wood. This will do so much for the look of the build. Do the same for the bottom of the house where the brick meets the foundation. We already trimmed the top before the roof was placed, so we just need to wrap the bottom now. Then, same as on the inside, to give the build more personality, run some poles up any large blank areas. Now for even extra personality, you can place some X's in between those poles. You could call it done at this point. There are a couple options you could choose between on the windows. If you're concerned about being attacked through the window and don't just want to close the shutter if that happens, you can grab a 2-meter pole, rotate it twice so it's diamond shaped, and connect it right to the inner center of the window. This will shrink the gap between the window, making it difficult for enemies to hit you while you're inside, and will also allow you to easily open and close the shutters. Or, much like the diamond window in the front and back, you could use dividers to decorate the windows, and they'll prevent attacks as well. In the end, though, it's your build. Do it your way. Let's take a look. I think that looks pretty good as is, but let's look at what an elegant version of this might look like. Yeah, that's nice. And then all we did to achieve this look was replace the wood planks under the windowsills with dark wood planks. Replace the thatch roof with shingles. And then we added the dark wood doors to the front. And you can see those few changes made a big difference. All this will be available once you locate the tar in the plains. If you need help getting to the plains, I have a series covering everything you need to know about each biome, leading up to and including it. I'll have the links below. And here's a look at a fancier version of this build. If you'd like me to share the breakdown for this house, which includes a fireplace and chimney, as well as a windowed roof, leave a like on this video and the comment show me, and I'll make a video on it. As for our build today, I think we can mark this up as yet another success. I hope this video has helped you improve your stone building. If you have any thoughts or questions, leave them for me in the comment section below. I will get back to you. That's going to do it for this video. I appreciate you watching. See ya!